This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. As you likely know, Republicans all across the country are whining and sniveling about President-elect Joe Biden's win. They're claiming that there's some vast conspiracy, vast voter fraud on a scale unseen in countries other than despotic regimes that are led by despotic regimes. It's really a sight to behold. We're seeing hearings taking place in Georgia and in Pennsylvania. Rudy Giuliani, before he got coronavirus, is just, it's a comedy tour where he's putting forth witnesses who seem like maybe they had too much to drink before the morning hearing, just acting like an idiot. You may have seen this lady.
The poll book is completely off. Completely off.
Off by 30,000?
I'd say that poll book is off by over 100,000. That poll book, why don't you look at the registered voters on there? How many registered voters are on there? Do you even know the answer to that?
No, I guess I'm trying to get to the bottom of this here.
Zero. There's zero.
So my question then is, if the
guess how many? Wait, what about the turnout rate? 120%.
Let's let Representative Johnson ask his question, please.
So the poll book number. There's two things that could happen here. Either the poll book number, if ballots were counted multiple times, there's two options. Option number one is that the poll book numbers are not going to match.
They don't.
The actual. Not by thousands and thousands of votes. That's not what we see right now.
Take a look again. Take a look again.
Option number two is that they essentially were filling in names of people who didn't vote.
Dead people too?
So is that?
Let's
I guess,
let
is that
Representative Johnson ask his question, and then when he's done.
I thought that was his answer. Okay.
Well, I guess that's my question here is why we're not seeing the poll book off by 30,000 votes. That's not the case.
What did you guys do? Take it and do something crazy to
it? That's the gotcha eyebrow. I mean, how do you argue against that? Anyway, there's this Supreme Court case that now Texas has filed against Georgia, Michigan, and Wisconsin, trying to overturn the election results. Ultimately, trying to disenfranchise millions of voters in these states because Texas doesn't like the outcome. Now, several states have joined in this lawsuit, several Republican states, several members of certain state legislatures have joined the case. A case to the Supreme Court, this case here. And I want to read Pennsylvania's response to this case. If you want to look it up online, it's number 220, actually that might be an O, 220155. State of Texas versus the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, State of Georgia, State of Michigan, and State of Wisconsin. And this is the opposition to motion for leave to file bill of complaint and motion for preliminary injunction, temporary restraining order, or stay. And Pennsylvania really summed this whole thing up in a scathing response where they wrote, since Election Day, state and federal courts throughout the country have been flooded with frivolous lawsuits aimed at disenfranchising large swaths of voters and undermining the legitimacy of the election. The state of Texas has now added its voice to the cacophony of bogus claims. Texas seeks to invalidate elections in 4 states for yielding results with which it disagrees. Its request for this court to exercise its original jurisdiction and then anoint Texas's preferred candidate for president is legally indefensible and is an affront to principles of constitutional democracy. There's 3 paragraphs here that I'm going to read, and they get better and better and better, because that is what is at stake here. Not only upholding our tradition of democracy, as flawed as it may be with the Electoral College, we're still a form of democracy. And Texas wants to use the federal judiciary as a picker of winners and losers, rather than allowing voters to cast their votes, thus deciding the outcome of an election. I continue with their response. What Texas is doing in this proceeding is to ask this court to reconsider a mass of baseless claims about problems with the election that have already been considered and rejected by this court and other courts. It attempts to exploit this court's sparingly used original jurisdiction to relitigate those matters. But Texas obviously lacks standing to bring such claims, which in any event are barred by laches and are moot, meritless, and dangerous. Texas has not suffered harm simply because it dislikes the result of the election, and nothing in the text, history, or structure of the Constitution support Texas's view that it can dictate the manner in which 4 other states run their election. Nor is that view grounded in any precedent from this court. Texas does not seek to have the court interpret the Constitution so much as disregard it. Well written, well argued. Under the Constitution, the reason we have the 50 states and all these weird rules from state to state is because the Constitution allowed the states to run their own elections. That's why in every state across the Union, there is a Secretary of State in that state who is in charge of the election. And in some of these states, Georgia in particular, there is a Republican Secretary of State, a Republican governor. They run the election there. So this case is Republican on Republican violence, so to speak. Continuing. The cascading series of compounding defects in Texas's filings is only underscored by the surreal alternate reality that those filings attempt to construct. That alternate reality includes an absurd statistical analysis positing that the probability of President-elect Biden winning the election was... Are you... Come on, man. Come on. All right, are you ready for this? I lost my place. That alternate reality includes an absurd statistical analysis positing that the probability of President-elect Biden winning the election was, quote, 1 in a quadrillion, unquote. 1 in a quadrillion that Joe Biden would win. Oh, math is hard. Math is hard, right? Texas' effort to get this court to pick the next president has no basis in law or fact. The court should not abide this seditious abuse of the judicial process and should send a clear and unmistakable signal that such abuse must never be replicated. That is strong and appropriate language coming from Pennsylvania in this case. Calling it a seditious abuse of the judicial process, and to make certain that the court answers strongly denying this claim so as to not encourage this to take place in the future. Let me tell you something. This is going to fail. Texas, and they have a stupid governor, a stupid lieutenant governor, and maybe even a more stupid attorney general in Texas. It is remarkable that they're putting their reputation on the line for this dipshit of a president. This man with no moral standing, ethical standing, no ethos, no honor, no duty, no obligation, no felt obligation to take care of these people, we the people of this country. And they're marching right off the plank, standing, throwing themselves off the precipice of of good repute, if you will, for Donald Trump, who doesn't give a rat's ass about any one of these people. Because Brian Kemp, the governor of Georgia, has been a Trump lapdog for this entire presidency. And what happened to him? When he abided by the law, because he has no other choice but to do so, Donald Trump is now whipping his supporters into a frenzy where they're surrounding his house. He's getting death threats because he crossed Donald Trump. He abided by the law, which put him on the other side of Donald Trump. Anyway, I would love to know what you think about the 1 in 1 quadrillion chance of President-elect Joe Biden winning the election. Give me a call. Leave me a voicemail. 714-576-4054. You can email me. Leave me an email. I guess that's something that I'm saying now. Send me an email. daily@dollemore.com. I love you guys. I appreciate you. This is a late one. This just came across, so I wanted to read it. Connect with me on social media. Consider becoming a channel member. Like I always say, if I'm not your flavor, and that's okay because I'm not for everybody, find somebody out there who does bring you value and support that person. It is important, more important now than ever. If you're reliant strictly on CNN or MSNBC or, God forbid, Fox News, you're missing out on a large swath of commentary and analysis that you're not going to get because it doesn't jive with the corporate take on the news. Anyway, I'll see you next time. I love you guys. Until then, be genuine. Take care of one another.